All right, so one of the platforms that we promote on is Spotify. And there's opportunity to make money on Spotify, good money, substantial money, but many artists don't. Why do you think so many artists fail at making good money on Spotify?
They they think that the Spotify royalties are the end all be all of the platform. And so when you say good money, um, one, good money is subjective.
That's true. I was going to say, I
So
was going to throw out a number. Let's say on average, what would take you to probably get to full time, which is what? It just depends on your lifestyle. But
yeah,
I
depends
think
on your life. Depends on if
anywhere
you have
between.
kids, if you've been on,
Very
if
true.
you,
Let's talk. Let's say we don't have kids. Let's say, I'm just kind of supporting
in your
myself, and I'm
20s,
just
your 30s, okay.
in middle class type
Yeah,
of deal.
lower 30s.
What's that?
I think the average household income is 59. There's less. It's around 60,000
Okay. All right.
in the U.S. So for a single person, that's probably going to be, and you're younger. That average is including older people who obviously make more money.
Right.
So when you're younger, it's probably if you're making 30 grand a year, you can probably survive.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I think when I first started the business, I don't think we cleared 20. I cleared 20, 20 grand first year. Didn't even clear 20.
Okay.
And I was able to eat, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't starving.
Yeah.
Like you can live.
Okay.
It depends on where you are.
Yeah.
So if you're in New York, you probably need 7 roommates to live all that. If you're in some other areas, you might be okay. Like
Yeah.
you might just need one roommate to live off that much,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
20, 30 grand somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And in some places, if you have 35 grand ish, 40 grand, you can probably get your own place.
Yeah.
Your own apartment, and you can live decently comfortable. So that's our range for your bare bones full time
Okay.
in the U.S. So in other countries that might be different, but in order to make that on Spotify, I don't just look at that 20,000 as okay. Let's go to the Spotify royalty calculator and just get 20,000 in royalties.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how you think when you're thinking get full time off of Spotify.
Yeah.
It's holistic always.
Yep.
So the holistic approach would be if I get 5,000 in royalties, I know that means I have X amount of exposure. And with that exposure, I should also be selling this merch and have these affiliate and sponsor deals and be doing, all this other stuff, all these shows, so that it totals that 30,000 in the year.
Yeah.
So that's how those percentages work. A lot of times, what artists do, what they do wrong, to answer your question, is they just take that royalty part and they leave out everything else. And they don't realize that everything else is where you make the money off of the exposure. It's your
That makes
funnel.
sense.
It's your
Yeah.
marketing funnel.
Yeah.
So to get them into your marketing funnel, Spotify is a little tough. So that's why we usually recommend that people don't put more than like 20, 25% of your budget towards Spotify because it's really hard to remarket to people whenever half of the platform is a paid audience. So you can't make a connection
Yeah.
with people as much because they don't get advertisements.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people think, oh, well, I don't pay attention to advertisements. You do to the good ones,
Yeah.
and you just don't recognize that they're advertisements.
Yeah.
So whenever you're on Spotify and you hear audio ads, if you're not paying for Spotify, you usually just say, "Oh, I skip those anyway." He's talking about retargeting and marketing to these people. If you make a good one, then people pay attention to it.
Yes. Absolutely.
So when it comes to making money on Spotify, one, the retargeting is limited, and most people come to your website the first time or visit your Instagram page and you have a little buy link for your merch store or whatever there.
Yep.
99% of people don't buy the first time. 99 point something aren't
Yeah.
going to buy the first time.
Yeah.
It's going to be when you bring them back to your page, which
Yeah.
is remarketing or retargeting, is when they're going to consider buying. So it's hard to do that on Spotify, and that's where a lot of people mess up. They're even if you're going to do Spotify Ad Studio, which we've talked about before, most people probably shouldn't do Spotify Ad Studio, but
Yeah.
if you're going to do it, you need to have your retargeting really good. So Spotify Ad Studio does have video ads that you can do on there, and they have the audio ads that you can do. When you're doing those, it shouldn't just be, hey, go keep listening to my music.
Yeah.
It needs to be, go to my website.
That's right.
So if they're going to charge you the same amount on Spotify Ad Studio for you to drive to your song versus to drive to your website, just drive them to your website.
Yeah, that's good.
Because that way, once they're off of Spotify, you don't have to worry about that limitation of, here's these free versus paid.
Yeah.
Because when they're on Instagram or they go on other websites that have Google Ads on them, you can retarget them that way. There's a bunch of different ways that you can retarget people. There's the Google display ads, which are those banners you see on websites.
Yes.
Yeah. So if a website opts in to be on the Google Ads network, then you have the chance of showing your retargeting ad on that. So it's not just so much like, how do I make the money on Spotify? It's how do I include Spotify into my strategy that's going to get me to that full-time income state.
Yeah.
So everything is holistic with this. I think it's something like 91% of people who bought something online did see, and don't quote me on that stat, but did see a brand in multiple places.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to just be you focus on Spotify. That's why our percentages are like 20% towards Spotify. You should have like 40, 50% going towards Instagram, Facebook ads, or like 40%, I'll say, probably like another 30, 40%-ish towards YouTube and Google ads. And then whatever you have left over, like 10%, 15%, whatever, throw that towards new platforms, new emerging platforms. So you got TikTok ads, Apple Music, Bing, Microsoft ads, like all those. So whatever Google doesn't cover, Microsoft might cover. Whatever YouTube doesn't cover, Instagram can cover. Whatever Spotify doesn't cover, Apple Music can cover. You're covering your bases. You're diversifying your investment. And when you diversify, that's when you put yourself in a safe place.
Yeah. Okay.